There's a $2 plastic spray bottle sitting on the shelf above my pit right now. Nothing fancy about it. I bought it in the garden aisle at the hardware store, 2 aisles over from anything to do with barbecue. But that little bottle has saved more $80 briskets than every shiny gadget in that whole store put together. Every hour or so, all through a 12-hour cook on my offset smoker, I pick it up, I crack that door, and I give the brisket a few quick puffs of mist. That's it. And come supper time, when I slice that brisket against the grain, the juice runs right off the cutting board, and Jolene hollers at me for ruining another one of her kitchen towels. Meanwhile, somebody down the road did everything else right, paid real money for the meat, watched his temperature all day, and still carved up something dry as a work boot. Stay with me to the end, because the reason this trick works has nothing to do with water soaking into the meat. Not one drop of that mist ever gets inside a brisket. It works because of one specific thing water does on the surface. The same thing that makes your skin go cold when you climb out of a stock pond, and it's also the reason that spraying at the wrong time will flat out ruin your bark. Nobody at the barbecue supply store ever explains it. I'm Travis Kolbe, but everybody's called me Tiny since the 7th grade, and I've been growing into the joke ever since. I'm third generation Caldwell County, Texas, right down the road from Lockhart, the barbecue capital of the state. My grandpa ran Kolbe's meat market in our town and smoked briskets out back the old German way. Salt, pepper, post oak, and patience. My daddy fixed saddles and tack for every ranch in the county, and I grew up between the smoker and the stitching pony. I've been feeding folks off my own pit for better than 30 years. So let's talk about why briskets dry out in the first place, because almost everybody blames the wrong thing. Folks figure they bought a bad cut of beef, or they figure the meat needed injecting or marinating, or some seasoning packet with a cowboy on the label. So they go spend more money at the store, and the next brisket comes out dry too. 30 years at this pit taught me something different. A dried out brisket is almost never a middle problem. It is a surface problem. That big slab of beef spends 12 hours sitting in moving hot air inside your smoker, and moving hot air pulls water off the surface the entire time. The same way a January wind chaps your hands raw. The thin end of the flat gives up its moisture first. Then the drying works deeper and deeper, and by the time the middle finally hits temperature, the outside inch of your brisket is jerky. The old market men understood this 100 years ago. My grandpa kept a mop bucket beside the pit behind the meat market, a little bucket with a cotton mop in it, and he swabbed those briskets all day long. This spray bottle is just Grandpa's mop bucket with a trigger on it. $2 instead of $20, and a whole lot less mess. I'll come back to exactly why that thin coat of moisture makes the difference between juicy and jerky, because that's the part everybody gets wrong, and it's the part that decides your timing on everything else I show you today. Now, everything I'm fixing to show you comes straight out of a book I put together called the Texas BBQ Bible. 101 pit-tested secrets for perfect brisket, ribs, and smoke. It's 101 pit-tested secrets from 3 generations of Caldwell County meat market smoking, written out plain for the backyard cook so you never ruin another brisket as long as you live. This spritz method has its own page in the book, and so does everything around it. Picking your brisket and trimming it right, the salt and pepper rub, reading your smoke and running your fire, the stall, the wrap, the rest, and the slice. Rescuing a cook that goes sideways, feeding a whole crowd without going broke, and it works on whatever pit you own, offset, kettle, or pellet, because the fire's the fire. The book is $17, marked down from $47. Think about that math for a second. One ruined brisket cost you $80 at the meat counter. The book costs $17 and it pays for itself the first weekend you use it. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time, there is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. All right, let's get that bottle filled. My mix is half apple cider vinegar and half plain water. That's 50-50, half vinegar, half water, nothing else. Get yourself a clean spray bottle that has never once held a chemical. Fill it halfway with apple cider vinegar. Top it off the rest of the way with plain water. Give it a gentle shake. Then set the nozzle to the finest mist it will make. And take your time getting that right. There's no rush. Now, if the vinegar worries you, let me put your mind at ease. That brisket will not taste like vinegar, I promise you. The vinegar mostly cooks off in the heat, and what little stays behind just wakes the bark up a touch. Plain water by itself works fine too, and if plain water's what you've got, use it proud. Some fellows use apple juice cut half and half with water, and that works. But hear me on one thing. Juice has sugar in it. Sugar darkens fast in the last hours of a cook. So if you go the juice route, watch your color late in the day. What you never do is reuse a bottle that held cleaner or weed killer. $2 buys a fresh one, spend the $2. Now here's where most folks go wrong, and I mean nearly all of them. They fill that bottle, they get excited, and they start spraying the minute the brisket hits the grate. For the first 3 hours, that bottle stays on the shelf. 3 full hours. Not 1 hour, not 2, 3. Your rub needs that time to cook down and crust up into bark on the surface of the meat. Spray too early and you will hose your own seasoning right off an $80 brisket. And I know because I've done it, standing right at this pit, wondering why my bark looked like a wet newspaper. After 3 hours, open the door and look at the rub. If it looks wet and it smears when things touch it, close the door and give it another 30 minutes. If it's crusted over and holds still, you're ready to start spritzing. And hold that thought about the bark setting, because when I show you at the end why this mist works at all, you're going to see that this 3-hour rule is the whole ball game. Now the spraying itself and this part is easy. Hold the bottle 8 to 10 inches from the meat. That's 8 to 10 inches, about the length of your hand and a little more. You want a fine mist floating down, never a hard stream. A stream punches holes in your bark. A mist settles on it like morning dew. Give it 3 or 4 puffs, that's all. Hit the thin end of the flat first because that skinny end dries out before anything else. Then catch the edges, then one pass across the top. And get that door closed inside 30 seconds because every minute that door hangs open costs you 15 or 20 minutes of cook time. Grandpa always said, if you're looking, you ain't cooking. Do this every 45 minutes to an hour, from hour 3 until you wrap. In between, leave it alone. Low and slow, friends, low and slow. Now let's talk about your pit because I don't care one bit which one you own. If you're on a pellet grill, listen close. Because you need this trick more than anybody. That pellet rig has a fan moving air across your meat all day, and moving air is a hairdryer pointed at your brisket. Pellet cooks, spritz every 45 minutes on the dot. If you're cooking on a kettle with charcoal, you spray the meat, not the coals. Mist on hot coals kicks up ash, and ash on a brisket helps nobody. Just angle the bottle over the meat and stay off the fire. And on an offset like my old barrel pit, you've got the most forgiving setup of the 3. So every hour will do you fine. Whatever you're running, keep your grate temperature at 225 to 250 degrees. That's 225 to 250 at the grate and hold it steady. The pit doesn't matter near as much as the pit master. So the hours roll by, you're spritzing on schedule, and then somewhere around 160 degrees internal, your thermometer just quits climbing. It'll sit there for 2 hours, maybe 3. And every new pit master in America has stood at the pit at 2 in the morning, convinced the thermometer broke. It didn't. That's the stall, and the stall is the same water science I keep promising you, working against you this time. When the stall hits, here's your move. Give the brisket one last good spritz, a heavier one this time. Wrap it up snug in butcher paper. Then no more spraying. The paper holds the moisture from here. Take it on up to 203 degrees internal. That's 203. And Grandpa always said the brisket's done when it's done, and not a minute before. So if it wants 205, give it 205 and check that it probes like soft butter. Then rest it, wrapped, at least 1 full hour before you slice. So gather it up. 50-50 vinegar and water. Nothing for 3 hours. Mist every 45 to 60 minutes. Wrap at the stall, pull at 203. Rest an hour. And that brings us to the part I promised you at the start. Why does a $2 mist keep a brisket juicy when the water never gets inside the meat? 2 reasons, and they're both the same reasons my grandpa mopped briskets behind the meat market before either of us was born. First, a wet surface stays cool. When water evaporates off of something, it carries heat away with it. That's why you shiver climbing out of a stock pond in August, and that's why sweat cools you down at the pit. Every time you miss that brisket, the surface cools off and slows down, and that skinny flat quits, racing ahead of the thick point. The mist isn't adding juice to your brisket, it's stopping the outside from overcooking while the middle catches up. The juice was in that brisket all along. The spritz just keeps you from cooking it out. Second, smoke sticks to wet. Those little smoke particles floating through your pit grab onto a damp surface far better than a dry one. So a spritzed brisket comes out darker, deeper, and with a ring you could frame. The smoke ring don't lie. And now you see why the 3-hour rule matters. Before the bark sets, water washes your rub away. After it sets, that mist just sits on top, cooling and catching smoke, doing nothing but good. 1 trick, 2 jobs, $2. And that right there is meat market knowledge my grandpa handed me for free. There's 101 of those in the Texas BBQ Bible, written out plain, so you never ruin another brisket long as you live. $17, down from $47, and 1 saved. Brisket pays for it 4 times over. It don't matter if you run offset, kettle, or pellet, the book meets you at your own pit. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time, there is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. So that's the whole trick. A $2 bottle, a 50-50 mix, 3 patient hours, and a fine mist every 45 minutes buys you a juicy brisket every single time. Now tell me something. What's the worst brisket disaster you ever had? Put it below. No judgment here. I've burned enough to build a church with. I read every single one. Next time, I'm going to show you the cheap little cut hiding in plain sight at the regular grocery store that smokes up so close to brisket that most folks at the table can't tell the difference, at about 1/3 of the price. You don't want to miss that one. Keep your fire low and your stitches tight, and I'll see y'all next time.